Good morning, all of you. Today, let us discuss the last poem in your course, that is Refugee Mother and Child by Chinua Achebe. Chinua Achebe is a very famous Nigerian writer. He has written great works, great novels, and this one poem is also a very poignant, very moving poem. Poignant is moving, कोई चीज़ ऐसी चीज़ जिसको पढ़ के या सुन के आपका दिल दहल जाता है. You feel that oh my God, can God make a situation of somebody so pathetic? Can life be so bad at times with some people? Okay, that is what poignant, that is what moving is. Now, as the title says, refugee mother, we will read as one. Okay, refugee mother and her child. Achebe, Chinua Achebe, I will address him as Achebe. Achebe has used a picture of Virgin Mary to compare with the refugee mother who is taking care of her child. What is so special about that child? What is about to happen? Let us find out. Why the poet has done the comparison? Let us find out. So it goes like this. Refugee mother and child. No Madonna and child could touch that picture of a mother's tenderness for a son she soon would have to forget. So this refugee mother has a child who is about to die, right? And Achebe is saying no Madonna and child. Virgin Mary is used, Madonna is used for Virgin Mary. हमने बहुत सारी pictures देखी हैं Mother Mary की with the Jesus Christ, baby Christ, है ना? And what do? Those pictures, they represent what? They represent motherhood. They represent tenderness. They represent love, right? But actually यहाँ क्या कह रहे हैं? The picture of the refugee mother taking care of her child who is about to die is much or far more tender and full of motherhood as compared to the picture of Virgin Mary and Jesus Christ. This is what he's trying to say in the first three lines, that this is a far better picture of love, of motherhood, of tenderness than many pictures of Virgin Mary with baby Christ. Now this is in the first three lines what he has done. He has compared the two pictures, right? And then he is giving you an explanation or an insight, I should say, an insight into a refugee camp. What is happening there? What is the condition there? That is why refugee mother, because the setting of the poem is a refugee camp, right? The air was heavy with odors. Odors are smells, badbu, of diarrhea, loose motions, of unwashed children, with washed out ribs. Their ribs are perturbed outside in the sense that their bones are visible. Okay, when he is saying washed out ribs, he means to say that the bones are visible. Okay, that is the condition, that is the plight. And some of the mothers have stopped washing their children because they are having the disease of diarrhea, they are having loose motions, and they are doing it again and again. So the mothers have just stopped washing them. Why? Bottoms struggling in labored steps. Sorry, I will read it again. The air was heavy with odor, smell of diarrhea, of unwashed children. The mothers were not washing their bottoms, with washed out ribs. Ribs, their bones were visible. Bottoms struggling, dried up. Dried up bottoms, because mother ne wash nahi kiya, so that motion has dried up on his bottoms. And struggling in labored steps. They are so weak that they cannot walk. Their steps are taken with lots and lots of labor, with lots and lots of hard work. Behind blown empty bellies, and उनके जो stomach हैं, they have blown up, फूल गए हैं पेट. Why? Because they are empty. So this is the situation of the children who are there in the refugee camp. And from this, that is the bones visible and swollen bellies, इससे हमें क्या पता चलता है? That these children in the refugee camp, they all are malnutritioned. Nutrition. कुपोषण जिसको हम हिंदी में बोलते हैं, all of them are suffering from this, and their mothers know that they will die for sure. इसलिए उन्होंने, कुछ mothers ने क्या किया है? They have stopped washing their bottoms. They have stopped cleaning their potties. That is what some mothers have done. Most mothers there, means in the refugee camp, had long ceased, stopped. They have ceased what? To care, but not this one. Which one? This one. This refugee mother has not stopped caring for her child who is about to die. She held a ghost smile between her teeth, and in her eyes the ghost of a mother's pride as she combed the rust-colored hair left on the skull. Now again, rust. She's using, Achabi is using rust-colored. Rust-colored again means the child is malnutritioned. Then he is using skull. Head nahi use kar raha hai. He is using skull, which again means the child is suffering from malnutrition. And skull kiska hota hai? Skeleton ka hota hai. ठीक है? So the body of the child is not a human body, but it is more like a skeleton, the way it has been explained. And when she is saying, when Achabi is writing that a ghost smile between her teeth and in her eyes, ghost of a mother's pride, like she knows that her child will die, right? But she is not stopping herself from making that, what should I say, a show of love to the child, even in the last moments of the child's presence on the earth, right? So he is not using head, but he is using skull, which means the body is more of a skeleton. I read again. Most mothers there had long ceased to care, but not this one. She held a smile between her teeth, and in her eyes the ghost of a mother's pride. She combed, कंघी करी उसने, जो उसके बाल सर पे बचे थे. सर भी नहीं बोल रही है, skull बोल रही है. And then singing in her eyes, like she is not saying anything. That is why ghost, everything, there is a show of things शो ऑफ नहीं बोल रही मैं, शो ऑफ तो डबल हो जाता है ना. Like she is doing things, but she is not, like the other person cannot know what is happening, and she is singing a lullaby, which is lori in Hindi, for her dying child. That is why singing in her eyes. Began carefully to part it. Part बालों का जो हम comb करते हैं, तो partition निकालते हैं, that part. Now the last few lines of the poem, what do they talk about? Very interesting. In another life, if they were not in the refugee camp, but if they were having a routine life like all of us, then what would have happened? In another life, this would have been a little daily act of no consequence. No consequence का मतलब है यहाँ of no importance. A mother जो है, she will comb the hair of the child maybe after breakfast or when the child is going to school. तो वो रोज का काम है, ठीक है, उसका कोई बहुत बड़ा significance नहीं है. But here the combing of the hair has a huge significance. Why? Because the mother, the refugee mother, is getting her child ready for grave. Yes, she is making her child ready for the grave. Now this shows the strength, and this also shows the power of motherhood. When she knows things are not in her hand, she can't do anything. She is, even in the last moments of her the life of a child, she is trying to do her best for him. In another life, this would have been a little daily act of no consequence before his breakfast and school. Now she did it like putting flowers on a tiny grave. So I already told you this. Now this act of parting the hair is a final act of love, tender love for her child. That is what this mother is doing for her child. So every other mother in the refugee camp has stopped caring for their kids, their children who are malnutrition, and they know they will die. But this refugee mother is presenting to us a picture of motherhood, which motherhood, tenderness and love, which can be far, far above comparison with the pictures of Madonna and Christ, Virgin Mary and Christ. So this is what the poet is trying to tell you, and through this poem, what has HB tried to do? He is presenting you a picture of poverty, a picture of starvation and disease. This is what HB is doing. Beautifully written poem, very small but very poignant, very intense. So I hope it must be clear to you. What you have to remember, that there is this refugee mother who is tenderly caring for her child who is dying. Okay? Now let us see the analysis that is given in your books. Refugee Mother and Child is an immensely moving and intense poem. It portrays the pain of a mother whose son is on the verge of dying. The poet states that no picture of Christ and Virgin Mary can match the poignancy of the image of the refugee mother and child, the child. This mother will soon have to learn to live without her son. The subsequent stanza conjures up the horrors of a life at a refugee camp with the images of disease and death. Disease की images कैसे हैं? They are saying that these children, they are suffering from diarrhea and their mothers have stopped caring from them. Disease, the disease of malnutrition that is there in the refugee camp, because the government is not taking care. Government is not providing food to the refugees. They are not providing them even the basic necessities that they want to live or to survive in the refugee camp. The heavy stench smell of children sick with diarrhea, their unwashed, dried up bottoms and blown empty stomachs, and these children making a visible effort to walk. He refers to the resilience of this mother, refugee mother, her resilience, her power to resist, her power to face the situation that her child is dying. Her eyes almost singing a song as she takes care to clean up her child, comb his rust-colored hair before laying him to rest. The poet contrasts her spiritedness with the lackadaisical approach of those who have given up taking care of their children. The refugee mother's act could easily have been the daily ritual that a mother carries out before dispatching her to school. However, in this case, it is an act that has a tenderness which is equal to putting flowers on tiny grave of a child. So यहाँ मैंने आपको क्या बताया? That she is getting the child ready for the grave. But in the last lines, it is also compared that this act of combing hair is like she is putting flowers at the tiny grave of her child. Okay, so you can understand the depth of how moving and how poignant the poem is. Okay, quite an easy one, but you need a heart to, let us say, a mother's heart to understand this. But still, you will be in a position to understand that how it feels to happily say goodbye to somebody you know is dying, right? And that too, if that is a child, your own child. Clear? So that is all for Refugee Mother and Child by Chinua Achebe. Chinua Achebe has written really great works, and this too is one of the most intense poems in literature. Okay? कोई डाउट है आपको? कोई बात नहीं समझ आई होगी? I think हमारी almost 7 poems हैं which we have covered up. I have been giving you questions out of 140, सिर्फ 14 या 15 I think girls ही हैं जो respond करती हैं. I wonder what the rest of you are doing. It is up to you. See, I have done my bit. I have taught the whole literature portion. Now what we are left with is transformation of sentences, the last topic in your course. Once that is over, I will start taking your presentations, maybe through Google Meet or maybe through recorded videos, that I will see what has to be done. But get serious about your studies. Don't be under this impression that this time too, you know, a decision like the previous decision of passing you would be done. You are at a loss in that condition, let me tell you. You could score more if you have given a written paper. That is what I believe. I don't know what others think. But मैं ये चाहती हूँ कि आप लोग पढ़ाई करें, लिखें, और एक ऐसा ओपिनियन बना के ना चलिए कि लेट अस सी इस सेमेस्टर में क्या होता है, लेट अस नॉट सी, बी प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर द एग्जाम्स इन कमिंग मार्च, ठीक है। स्टार्ट वर्किंग नाउ, डोंट वेट, आगे जाके एकदम से सब कुछ नहीं होगा, राइट। सो वॉच ऑन द वीडियोज, learn things, ask questions wherever you have problems, wherever you don't understand. After I'm done with transformation of sentences, मैं आपके साथ एक question paper share कर लूँगी so that you have an idea. Pattern मैंने already share कर लिया आपके साथ. I will share a previous year question paper with you so that you get an idea that what remains, how you are tested for this. Okay, that's all. Start studying, please, all of you. Take care. Thank you.